Welcome to Midjourney, and this is a simple guide to get you up and running. I won't deep dive into super specific topics on this video, but I will be doing that in upcoming videos. When you log into Midjourney, you land on the Explore page. Here, you can see what other people are creating and sharing. And this is a powerful tool because if you find something that you like, you just can click on that generation, you can see the prompt, so you can reuse it or recreate it on your own creations. On the right side of the screen, you can filter by styles, images, and videos. And then at the left, you can filter by For You, by random, the hot, and the top of the day, or you can select by week, month, and then the generations that you liked. Nonetheless, since you have so much material on the Explore, you can go to the search and then search for a very specific keyword. And then you explore until you find something that you like. And once you find something that you like, go to that generation, you can reuse the prompt or just, learn from it. The bar at the very top, which looks like a search bar, is actually your prompt bar. This is what we will be using the entire time to create on our account. On the Create tab, you will see a list of everything that you've made. At the very top, you will see when you generated that creations or these creations. And at the right side, you will find for each creation the prompt, the params that you used, and then more options. Now, to create an image, you just need to type your prompt and fire away. For example, a 1980s woman walking on a New York City street, daytime. And to run this, I just need to go to the submit. We will talk about the settings in a minute, but once you submit the task on the create, if you are outside of this window, it will show you that it's creating something. And once you get the generations, you will be getting 4 different iterations with that same batch. And as you can see, the quality of the generations is just stunning. On each batch at the top, you will get the prompt that you used for that generation, then the different params that you used, and at the bottom, you get more functions. Also, if you hover on any of the images, you will be getting more options. If you want to rerun this generation, you have a few choices. By going here and clicking Use Text, it will take the text, which means the prompt, and it will put it on the prompt bar. Nonetheless, if I hover on here and I go to Use, it will use the same prompt, but it's adding the different params. We have a special syntax. These ones are commands that tell the model which settings to use. So you can just click on Use Text, use just the text, or click on Use to get the params as well. Nonetheless, to run a new version of this, you need to click on the Submit. But if you go to Rerun, it will take the same prompt, the same everything, and create a new batch. You can of course trash the generation, but if you click on More, you get more options, like copy the ID and the seed and everything else. But then right here, you have an important function, which is download the image. One thing that you need to know is that when you click on Download, it will give you a grid, and it will look something like this. And of course, this might not be what you want. You can go to any of the generations and then right-click, and you will be getting a lot more options. Most of these options are ways to edit that generation, but at the bottom, you can see the save image. If I save this image, we will only get one single image. If you click on any of the iterations, it will open the expanded page. And right here, you have almost the same things than before. You have all the actions that you can run to create edits and, to perform tasks. And at the top, you have the params and, of course, the use text. Here, again, you can download this single generation, you can like, and then, of course, you have more options. Then you have a pin, and this actually calls Spotlight. If you click on this one, what you're doing, you're adding this generation to your main profile. So if you go to your main profile, it means that other users can see that creation. As you can see, Midjourney, it's quite deep. I mean, it looks simple on the surface, but you have tiny useful functions all over the place. Every time that you create something, it's wise to go to the settings. If I go here, you will see a lot of options, and this is quite simple. You just select the ratio that you want if you want to use a different model, and then you just fire away. But then you have the aesthetics featuring 3 different sliders. These sliders are highly important. I mean, highly. They can really make or break your prompt. In simple words, these sliders tell the model to use that Midjourney touch, or to be a little bit more weird, or to give you more variety on each batch. Just to give you an example, I'm going to run this, a realistic wide shot of a modern woman walking on a London street, and then sunny day. I will go all the way down on stylization, run this task, and then this same prompt with stylization all the way up. We get it. At the bottom, it's 0, and at the top, it's 1000, or just full stylization. And how do you know? Well, when you do something like this, you will be getting it right here on the params. So what can you notice? 0 stylization looks very real or standard, almost like I took a photo of a woman on the street with my phone. But 100% stylization looks like I hired a professional to take these images. Now, there's a lot more to stylization. This can be a quite complex param because it really depends on your prompt, maybe on the references that you're using. It really depends on the mood boards and profile, so it really goes deep. Then we have the weird, and this one does pretty much what you would expect. To run an example, I will do a realistic close shot of a black cat in the street, 0% weirdness, and then the same prompt with weirdness all the way up. Alright, we get it, and you can clearly see the difference. Weird all the way up, the images are great, but they are a little bit weird. And at the bottom, we have something a little bit more, let's say, standard. Just like this stylize, the weirdness really depends on your prompt. And to finish, we have the variety. A low value for this one means that we don't want much variation between the outputs. And of course, if we go up, we will be getting a lot more variation. I'm going to run this prompt, which is a medium close shot of a man reading a book, low variety, and then I will run it again all the way up. And we can see what's going on. Low variety, all the shots are pretty close, but then at the top, with variety all the way up, we get something completely different on all the different generations. One thing to know is that the variety also calls chaos. That's why on the settings, you see variety, but behind the scenes, the param is chaos. In conclusion, the sliders work directly with your prompt. If your prompt is not super detailed, the sliders will grab the wheel of your generation and try to complete the generation for you. So again, depending on the mode, the prompt, the mood board, the profile that you're using, the sliders will affect more or less your creations. If we keep moving forward on the interface, you have the organize. This tab is a must use. Here you can search through all the past prompts and creations. At the right side of the screen, you have a lot of filters that you can use to narrow your generations. And as you will learn, you will create a million images and maybe videos. So trying to find something without using the filter can be really challenging. Also, once you're here, if you click on a generation, it will take you to this screen. But if you hold the shift and then you click on the generation, you can select, or you can select many at once. And at the bottom, you will have more options like download all at once, or you can click on more and trash, like, or add them to folders. Yes, you can create folders to keep the workspace a little bit more clean. If you want to find something and you don't want to use the filters, at the top, notice it says search prompts. And this search, it's not for the Explore. Now it works for your files, for your creations. So if I go here and I say woman, I've created a lot of creations saying woman. So it will go to the prompt and find all the creations for me. And it's pretty fast. Besides the filters, you have more options like the view options, which is the layout of this workspace, then the profiles that you can create on your Personalize, and you can filter by profiles, and then you have the saved searches. And this one is just like creating a tag. For example, if I go to add search, I can go right here, provide a title like woman, and then I provide the terms. I'm going to use the same keyword, woman. Once I create this, at the right side, it will show that keyword or the title. If I click on this one, it will go to my generations and filter everything by those keywords. If we keep moving forward, we have the Personalize. And actually, the first time that you enter to Midjourney and you want to create an image, you need to first create a profile. This one is a way of teaching the model what you actually like, meaning your preferred aesthetic. So once you train the model on your tastes, it will provide much more accurate responses tailored to you. From here, you can just turn it on or off, and you can create many profiles. But if you're starting with a new account, you will only have one single profile. Once you have many profiles, the way to use them is by going to the letter P that you have right here at the top. If you click it, you will be turning it on or off, and then whenever you prompt something, it will use that very specific profile. Once you have many profiles, you can click on the drop down, and from here you can just turn it on and off again and select any other of the other profiles. One of the things that you can do right here, if you have many profiles, is to select them all at once. And then when you prompt for something, Midjourney will use all the profiles to create a blend of that style. But in conclusion, when it's on, the generations you get back will automatically obey the style rules of the profile. Moving on, you have the mood boards. And mood boards are a little bit like the personalization, but not quite the same. Here, you select a mood board and then you create something, and that something will output with this style of the images that you have on the mood board. So it will use the images as references. You can create as many mood boards as you want, and it's actually a pretty simple process. You just need to click on the new mood board, and then you can upload images or maybe add from link, but you can take them from your own creations. So let's say that I want to create images in the style of the cat. Well, I go right here, I select the images that have that style, and then I click on done. At the top, I can just provide a name, something like cat, and that's pretty much it. If I go back, you will be getting that mood board. And the way to use them is the same as the Personalize. At the very top, when you do the drop down, when you click on drop down, you can select the mood board right here. I can go maybe to cat, or I can select both at once. So you create a blend. On this bugs type of mood board, I have a hand drawing type of style. So I'm going to select that mood board. And then if I go at the top and I prompt for something simple like a man walking, and I submit that task, what I will get back is a hand drawing type of style of a man walking. Notice I never said I wanted a hand drawing type of style, but since we are using the mood board, is taking this style from those references and applying it right here. At the very top, you have 3 different methods to work with references. The omni-reference tries to log a subject. You just need to drag and drop whatever subject. I'm going to be using this subject, and as soon as you drop, it will use it as a reference. Right here, you have a slider, and this one is highly important. The higher you go, the stronger the reference will be. If I prompt for something like a woman walking in Times Square, it will try to use this subject. I'm gonna just submit the task. Once we get it back, we can see it's trying to use the subject as a reference. One thing you need to notice at the time of this recording, the omni-reference only works with version number 7, and the latest it's 8.1. And as you can see, Midjourney is not the best place to create consistent characters, but there is an update coming that promises to resolve that issue. Then if we go back right here, we have something called image prompts. This one, on the other hand, doesn't really care about your subject. It cares about the whole image. It takes the reference and elements that you have on that image, and it uses it as an inspiration for the lighting, color, style, composition, and elements. And as an example, I'm going to take maybe this image and then drag and drop, and we can put it on the image prompts. And then we just prompt for something, and it will use the same reference. I'm going to just run the task. Once we get it back, notice it's trying to use the same position and composition as a reference. Of course, it's not the same style, but it's kind of a try to use that reference. And this is the whole point of image prompts. Now, there's a lot more about these references. I will upload a couple of videos explaining how this works. And then you have, in my opinion, the most useful, which is going to be the style references. And this one is just how it sounds. You just drag a reference and it will use this style of this image to create something new. I will prompt for a man walking in the street, and when we get it back, notice that it's using the same style of the reference to create something new. And this takes us to the next topic, style references. Now, can we manually look around and find a style we like? Yeah, we can. If you go to the Explore, you can see that you have this style right here. If you go to the style, you will find a lot of different styles that you can use. Now, you don't need to use the styles only. You can go to images and use whatever image as a very specific style. You can just take the image, drag and drop, and put it on the style references. Or if you go inside a generation, at the bottom, notice it says image, style, and prompt. If I click on style, it will take this image and put it on the style references. Nonetheless, if you go to styles, which is the dedicated section, you will find a million beautiful styles that you can use. If you hover on a very specific style, you can see that you have an ID. If you click on this ID, you will be copying the param, and you can use this ID to create something within this style. Nonetheless, right here, you have a couple more options. If I click on try style, it will take whatever prompt that I have right here and run a new task. If I click, we will be running that style. And if I go back to the create, we can see that we have a man walking with that very specific sref ID. Let's say that you like a couple styles and you want to save them. If you click on the heart, you will be saving those generations or those styles into your likes. And right here, if you go to likes, you can see them all. Now, also, what happens if I want to find different variations of this same style? Well, you click on this search and it will take that very specific ID and try to give you styles that are very similar. Now, styles on Midjourney are fantastic. It's a feature that you should be using the whole time, and they are very, very important on Midjourney. Now then, to finish with this introduction, you can go to the edit. But first, if I go to a generation at the right side, you will see a bunch of functions that you can run to, of course, create changes or edits to your generations. Still, you have an option that says edit. You have the simplified edit where you can just maybe brush and run some edits, and you can, of course, change the ratio and outpaint and inpaint, which are the most common things that you can create on any image generator. Nonetheless, at the left side, you can see something that says edit. If I go here, you have a different interface. And this one is like the advanced editor of Midjourney. If I go back to a generation and then go back to the edit, right here, it says open in edit tab. So if I click that one, it will take me to the advanced editor. Right here, you just can do the same thing. You can change the ratio to outpaint or inpaint. Then you can just brush to run your edits, and you can smart select if you want to. But on this version of the edit, you have a couple more features. At the right side, when you create edits, you will see the whole history of edits. Then at the top, you have the retexture, which means that you will be prompting to change the texture of this image. And then at the bottom, you can work with layers. Of course, this doesn't work like Canva or Photoshop or Figma, for example, but you can bring different creations right here, and then you just can brush and create something new with those layers. And that's pretty much the whole interface. You find references and inspirations on the Explore, you create on the Create, you edit your creations, then you manage on the Organize, and everything else about personalization and mood boards is about syncing the Midjourney to your own style or to some very specific style. And that's pretty much the whole platform. It might not seem like much at first, but each function you have right here, it really goes deep. And you have a lot of different functions that I didn't mention, like videos, the style creator, the params, and a lot more. Now let's talk about pricing. If you want to try Midjourney just to see if you like it, well, the basic plan is more than enough. But if you want to create a lot of images, it's pretty limited. So my recommendation is for you to go with the standard. If you choose to go with the Pro or the Mega plan, it's because you have lots of money or you're making money with this. So the pricing is just very simple. If you want to create a few images, go with the basic. If you want to create a lot more, go with the standard. Now, one thing that you need to take into account is that on the basic plan, you don't have something called relaxed image generations. Relaxed means that when you create images, you will not be using your monthly quota. Of course, they take a lot more time to create, but they are free. And you don't get relaxed on the basic. You get it on the standard, Pro, or the Mega. Okay, so this was an easy, relaxed introduction to Midjourney. I will be uploading more videos about Midjourney, so if you like this video and you learned something new, leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Don't be a stranger.